This package came much faster than the rest of the mail I've gotten in the last few days. This was a 3-day priority post. This is coming to me live from FASA. So it came here from Knoxville, Tennessee, and all the way to Korea in just a handful of days. So that's nice. A lot of the other parcels I've gotten have been traveling lesser distances over longer periods. Now this is supposed to be the player's guide for Blue Planet. And if you compare with another, let's say, normally sized book, it looks a little short. So I'm curious now about what's inside. We'll have to wait a little longer. Inside the envelope is another padded envelope. I like that. And voila, inside we have the soft cover, because there is no hardcover, the soft cover player's guide for Blue Planet, the revised edition. This is a very thick book, but as we just showed, it's a much smaller format. Okay. Now, good paper. Sharp blacks, right to the edge, fairly consistent formatting and whatnot. Compared to a normal size game book, the new dimensions for Blue Planet are significantly smaller and thicker. It's a good solid cover, nice binding. Good art as usual, and not an iota of wasted space. So it will be interesting to see what it's like when the full-color hardcover of the Game Master's Guide arrives, and we'll continue the discussion about Blue Planet at that time. Judging by the small size of this package, this must be what I've been waiting for, the Game Master's Guide for Blue Planet. Let's tear open the package. This is a print-on-demand product through drive-thru. And this is a supposedly full-color book. So let's take a look. As usual, the packing is nice and tight, and you don't really have to worry about damage to the book in transit. The book is the same dimensions as the Player's Guide, which I referenced earlier. Now, the Player's Guide is only available in softcover, but this is available in hardcover, and that's what I opted for. Okay. Now, full color, of course, with a text-heavy game like this, doesn't mean that it's all glossy pages and whatnot, but it's colorful. Now, the access denied sections, these are Game Master eyes only sections, and the blue boxes, like Most Wanted, these are items of background information and that sort of thing. Now, Blue Planet is an incredibly detailed game. It's hard to really, review it, but it's great fun to read. For those unfamiliar with Blue Planet, it's a science fiction game where we have to leave the Earth, and fortunately for us, a wormhole is found which allows for relatively easy access with a primarily water world. And there's a lot of friction and conflict involved with settling this planet, which is a part of the game. But the setting itself allows for more than just a settlement kind of game. This can certainly be an aspect of your game, but the rules provide for a way to use space stations, colonies on the moons and asteroids, undersea and on-land environments on the planet itself, and provides access to, I guess, what would be in a fantasy game, different races. In this case, because of genetic engineering, you can play sea creatures, dolphins, orca, this sort of thing, that are able to communicate with and interact with humans. It's definitely not your normal setting. games might be frontier style, either for or against the law, either being a part of corporate expansion into the wilds, or alternately being, a back to the land type who's resisting the urbanization of another world by humanity. There is an indigenous species, and this can play a significant or minor role in the way that you run the game. And this can be benevolent or malevolent, depending on your interpretation and the interpretation of your characters. So Blue Planet offers a lot. Now, originally, the format of the game was standard, but they've gone through 2 editions. Version 1 and version 2 are quite different in terms of system, but the setting has been clearly maintained all along and slowly expanded over time. And in a way, this is a game for science-minded people by science-minded people. Now, they're now in the revised edition, which cleans up or alters aspects of the V2 rules, the second edition rules of Blue Planet, to speed play or provide clarification, that sort of thing. So the game has always conducted itself so that the core books were a player's guide and the moderator's guide. Now, the moderator's guide has been renamed now as the Game Master's Guide, likely for clarity. And they have taken on a new size, which I've shown in the previous part of this clip. We have this digest size, I guess, format. Now, the player's guide is currently only available in softcover. The Game Master's Guide is available in hardcover if you'd like it, and in color. I was able to get the player's guide directly from FASA, and I ordered the Game Master's Guide as print on demand through drive-through. Now, I guess my only complaint would be that these books are not the same size, and we'll take a closer look in a second. The books are essentially the same thickness as they were in previous editions. The Player's Guide takes care of everything the players need to know, including the basic rules of the system, whereas the Game Master's Guide gets into the deeper setting and options along those lines. Now, in terms of dimensions, the Blue Planet Player's Guide is, shall we say, significantly shorter than the Game Master's Guide. This may not bother you, although you could be one of those for whom this is a deal breaker. So, I thought I'd show you. Now, the second edition of Blue Planet was like this. You had the Moderator's Guide, the Player's Guide. I have them in softcover. They haven't been available in hardcover for a very, very long time. This game used to be distributed through Fantasy Flight, and I was able to get the whole set for $5 a book, which was a great deal. Now, with the new revised edition, fluid mechanics has been incorporated into the core books. So fluid mechanics was basically the book of gear and vehicles and that sort of thing. So it's been taken over and consumed by the core books, which is great. The other books in the series were First Colony, Frontier Justice, Natural Selection, and Ancient Echoes, which I don't have here, I only have in PDF. So these were supplements for, ecology and as you'd expect, and Frontier Justice was, dealing with the nature of such a wide open frontier world with settlers arriving all the time, and there being very little law to keep up with them. First Colony is a setting source book. So a lot of this information has been incorporated into the new revised books, but not all of it. So we'll expect to see some more for Blue Planet from FASA soon, I hope. But right now, this is what there is of revised, which is Definitely a complete game. Don't let anyone tell you differently. The Player's Guide and the Game Master's Guide for Blue Planet, now distributed through FASA, available also from drive-thru.